Here are 4 great figures of Shoto Todoroki that I got for under 30 USD. Welcome to Running on Empty. Starting us off strong is the Amazing Heroes Plus Volume 5 Shoto by Bandai Spirits that I got at around 19 USD. In my opinion, this figure has the best Shoto face of my entire lineup today, which I give an A+ for character accuracy. I also love the presentation of his fire and ice quirk, the amazing action pose, the wonderful wrinkled detail in his clothing, and his windswept hair. The intense expression, clenched fist, and clawed hands showcases Shoto's drive, bravery, and ferocity very well. The only weaknesses for this figure include the disrespectful peg placement on his glute, the cheap see-through plastic of the base, and the flat paint job on his outfit, which has no shadow detail. But despite these shortfalls, I still think that this is a solid A+ figure. Next is the Ichiban Kuji Ultra Impact Deep Prize by Bandai Spirits that I got at around 14 USD. Another great Shoto figure here, which shows off his quirks amazingly. Again, I love the dynamic pose, the wrinkled detail in his outfit, which conveys movement, and that intense in-battle facial expression. I also like the fact that he has no base, however, this figure is unstable because of that. When you stand him up, he is susceptible to falling over, so to keep him from doing that, I recommend using see-through figure putty below his ice and his shoe. As for his face, I give it an A for character accuracy, and for the figure as a whole, I give it an A+. Next is the Ichiban Kuji Shitou C Prize by Bandai Spirits that I got at around 15 USD. Another amazing Shoto figure here, which I think has the best presentation of his quirks. I love the fact that he's propelling himself forward on his ice, and I also adore how elegantly his flames were sculpted. This figure also has the best clothing and gear paint job of all of the 4 today. I like the dark shadows on his outfit, the silver paint on his equipment, and the shading on his red hair. As for the face, I give it an A for character accuracy. But I wish they'd got his eye color correct. On my figure, his left eye is more green than blue. But even so, this is another A+ Shoto figure. Last is the Ichiban Kuji Next Generations E-Prize by Bandai Spirits that I got at around 19 USD. As for this figure, the strengths definitely include the sculpt and the presentation of his quirk, the wrinkled detail in his outfit, the shadows painted on his clothing, and his windswept hair. However, this was the most disappointing figure for me just because the facial expression doesn't match the one that's on the box. Unfortunately, I think this is one of those cases where the execution of the figure fell short. The figure is also not stable. Even with the footstand, he falls pretty easily. So, if you're gonna get this figure, I recommend using see-through figure putty at the bottom of his shoes. The shortfalls aside, I still think that this is a pretty solid Shoto figure for under 30 USD. Now, if I had to rank them, my favorite is definitely the Amazing Heroes Plus Shoto, followed by the Shitou C Prize Shoto, then the Ultra Impact D Prize Shoto, and last is the Next Generation Shoto.